Alright, Marky, I want to be honest with you. First off, it's Thursday. I would try not to lie to you about that. Second of all, I haven't actually watched your video, or at least I haven't been able to devote the proper amount of attention to it as I should. I mean, I had it playing in the background the other night as I was doing something else, so it's kind of like having the radio on while you're driving or something, where you hear it, but you don't actually know all the time what's being said. But anyway, I got my topic out of it. I promise I will go back and watch it and hear what you had to say on Tuesday. But for now, I won't, because I have to make my own video, and hopefully there wasn't anything that you said on Tuesday that I want to expound upon. Now, for how long is long enough? Apparently 21 years is not quite long enough. And the reason I picked 21 years is because this morning on the way to work there was a segment on the radio. I paid attention to the radio on the way to work today because I wasn't driving, so there really wasn't anything else for me to do. But anyway, on the radio today there was a segment on the effects of the Exxon Valdez spill in Alaska. And apparently there's some portions of Alaska that are still feeling some repercussions from that incident. On some islands of the state, if you dig down 6 inches, you might be able to hit water. And then, like, if you stare at that puddle for a little longer, eventually you'll see like a rainbow sheen. Then eventually you'll see little black globules of oil. And so maybe you can't see the oil on the surface of Alaska the way you can see it washing up on the shores of the southeast. But I mean, like, a couple high tides bringing in sand will cover that oil right up, and then, like, eventually you'll forget about it as another wave of oil comes in, and each layer will eventually be forgotten as a new one comes in, and that oil is going to stay there longer, or like even years after the oil gets cleaned up in the Gulf. And I suppose that this is one of those events that is going to stick with us. And I mean, not just like us as individuals because it's happening during our lifetime, but I mean, like, us, our generation. It's one of those things that's gonna go down in history books, most likely. I mean, I'm not gonna be writing history books in the future, so I don't know what they're gonna pick to put in them. But us and the people who come after us are gonna be the ones who are feeling the backlash of this oil spill, as opposed to, like, the earthquake in Haiti, whereas, like, we know that it happened and we felt sympathy and compassion for sure, but the direct impacts from it pale in comparison to what we're going to be feeling from the oil spill. Did you know that shortly after the earthquake in Haiti there was an earthquake in Chile, and then, like, just a month after that there, like, a few tornadoes, like, tore through Fiji? And I mean, how much did we hear about that? I didn't hear a lot about it. I read the newspaper and I found out about it that way. Or, like, I heard my friends talk about it, but, like, it took effort to get that news. And I guess when it comes to what we know about or what we're being told about, it depends on how close it is to home. And admittedly, we can only handle so much at one time. What I'm trying to say, Mark, is that to say that it's alright to push things out of our mind only after they have been dealt with in their entirety is a romantic and ideal and thoroughly impractical view, no matter how much I want the world to be consistently concerned about its brothers and sisters who are in need. It took the Haiti earthquake months to fall out of the news. We are still hearing about the U.S. and Afghan war, which is 9 years old. We still hear about the U.S. and Iraq war, which is like 7 years old, although I heard that it was over back in like 2003 and we're still fighting it, so I really don't know what's going on. Clearly, we are still hearing about Exxon Valdez, and it's been like 21 years later. And like, the opening of the Wizarding World and like the release of the Deathly Hallows movies is probably getting a lot more press coverage than other things that are going on in the nation. I mean, I guess what we hear about, or like I guess, yeah, what we hear about or what we want to hear about or what, I guess, the people who are bringing us news feel like we want to hear about are things that matter more to us. So I don't know what that's saying about us. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Harry Potter and I love hearing about what's going on at the Wizarding World, but I also want to know, what's going on outside my door. And while I'm talking about Harry Potter, I'm simultaneously stoked and shocked that this time next week we're going to be in Orlando for Infinitus, and that, I guess, was just a perfect example about how much we can focus on at a time. And I guess for how long is long enough, I mean, I can't say. I would think that it depends on how much something means to you before you forget it. Yeah, I don't actually know if I touched on your topic at all. I tried. By the time you get your video up tomorrow, I will probably be on the road to go visit Heidi, but I will see you tomorrow regardless. For your video tomorrow, feel free to continue this conversation or to talk about something inconsequential if you so desire. And with that, Mark, I will see you tomorrow. Alright, so maybe I didn't lie per se, but I feel like I was misleading when I said I'll see you tomorrow, because I'm now watching your video and I realize that yes, there are in fact things I want to talk about. For example, you mentioned understanding individual people while not being able to understand humans as a whole, and I mean, I feel like I feel the same way. Like, I can understand individual people, but I don't understand humanity as a whole. But I feel like that's backwards of the way that it's supposed to be, because really we are all very much the same, and there's a lot of variance between individual to individual, but I mean, on the whole we are the same, and that's why psychohistory worked, because you can't deal with individuals, they're too variable, whereas humanity on a whole is quite stable. I feel weird, like, talking over you, even though you're not really here. It is your video, and I could very easily pause it, but I'm trying to make sure that you're not about to say something that I want to respond to. But I'm currently, like, 4 minutes in, and I just talked over what you're trying to tell me to talk about. And apparently I did not quite cover my topic, or at least not the way I'm currently interpreting what you're saying. Yeah, I definitely did not answer this the way I guess you were asking, in which, well, sorry. Oh, well, okay, in that case, then I guess I did kind of talk about my topic, since you didn't really want me to talk about it. How long is long enough? I mean, I thought about it, and really I still don't feel like my response changes all that much, because, I don't know, actually I forgot what you had said again. You had said something, and then I forgot what I was thinking in response to it, because I kept watching and I kept talking over you. But I mean, yes, there are many places where we are needed and we're not. And there are many places where we really shouldn't have to have been needed, but we're there anyway. And I guess it really does depend on how much it matters to us. I can't really expound much on that. I feel like it's a little self-explanatory. I mean, I guess I could use some examples, but I would feel like I wouldn't know quite what I was talking about. And with that, I'm ending my video for real now.